Scoring 700 in GMAT isn't easy, but it can get a whole lot easier if you use the right strategy, resources, and study plan. In this video, I'll show you the strategy, resources, and study plan that I used to go from a GMAT score of 650 to 710 within 59 days. Actually, I think you can cut it down to 49. And guess what? I did not hire a tutor, I did not attend any classes, and I did not buy any course. When I analyzed my GMAT journey, I saw that I could divide it into three distinct phases: the research phase, the study phase, and the test phase. The research phase took me about 10 days to complete, and the study phase lasted about 21 days, and finally, the test phase, which was the longest phase for me, lasted 28 days. Now, let's look at the actions that I took during each of these phases. During the research phase, my primary objective was to information. Find information that could reliably deliver that 700 plus score to me. And what I was looking for was a strategy, how to achieve that 700 plus score, resources, what are the books, courses, what are the materials that I should use to get that 700 plus score, and what study plan should I follow on a day to day, week to week, and month to month basis in order to achieve my result. If the research phase was about finding things, the study phase was about discovering things. And what I mean by discovering new things is finding new terms, formulas, concepts, rules, methods, and techniques that are frequently tested on the GMAT or are useful for scoring high on the GMAT. In a very short while, I'll be taking you through what exactly I did in order to find the strategy, resources, and study plan, and what I did to discover all these different items. Now, on to the test phase. And in the last phase, which is the test phase, my aim was to take a lot of mock tests in order to apply what I had learned so that I can find further opportunities for improvement and fine tune my performance. All these actions proved to be quite effective because the proof is in the pudding. I was able to go from a GMAT score of 650 to 710 within 59 days. And because you're watching this video, this 10-day block becomes unnecessary for you, which can further cut down your preparation to just 49 days. If you think that is something that is really valuable to you, please press the like button. I appreciate it. It will help me take this content to a lot more people who are just like you preparing for the GMAT. Here's an overview of what I did in phase 1, the research phase. Like I told you, the goal of this phase was to find the right strategy, resources, and study plan for me to get that 700 plus score. Let's look at strategy first. So, for me, the whole strategy was how do I go from my starting point to my ending point? Ending point, I knew that I wanted a 700 plus score, but the important point was how do I achieve that 700? How should I structure my preparation so that I get that 700? And the main focus was to decide what will be my quant verbal split. As you can see here, the quant verbal split that I started with was 43 for quant and 37 for verbal. Now, this doesn't really give the right picture, so it's better to look at it in terms of percentile. 43 at that time was 65 percentile, and 37 again at that time was 80 percentile. These percentiles keeps changing, so you can refer mba.com for the latest percentile chart. But the strategy is still valid today. And if you look at what score you need in order to get 700, there are various possibilities. And these possibilities revolve around a dominant quant score and a good verbal score, or a dominant verbal score and a good quant score, or a balance of a good performance in both quant and verbal. So I had to decide what my strategy would be. So for that, I came up with this number: 47 for quant and 39 for verbal. In terms of percentile, that would be 81 and 88. Now, why these numbers? I chose these numbers specifically because I had already scored 80 percentile in verbal, and for me to achieve a huge improvement in a short period of time in an area in which I was already in the 80th percentile would be quite hard. Quant, on the other hand, I was starting at 65 percentile and there was plenty of scope for improvement. That is why I felt that an 81 percentile or an increase to 81 percentile was quite possible. So I framed my strategy as improving my verbal slightly from 37 to 39 and improving my quant by a large amount from 65 to 81. Once I decided what my strategy was, the next thing is what are the resources that I can use to help me achieve those numbers. Coming to resources, there are two types of resources that are very important in the study phase, and there is one resource that's very important in the test phase. So let's look at the study phase resources first. In the study phase, you would require study guides and question bank. Study guides are meant for you to get acquainted with all the concepts, formulas, rules tested on the GMAT, and a question bank is a collection of questions very similar to the ones that you get on the GMAT. And of course, for the testing phase, you would require tests. And during my research, what I found out was the best study guide was the study guide series or the set of study guides from Manhattan Prep. The best question bank is the GMAT official guide, and the best test series was the Manhattan Test Prep test series, and that came along with the strategy guides. So these two resources kind of came clubbed. I bought these resources over Amazon, and after that, I went on to framing a study plan. And the study plan was approximating the total time that it would take me to cover all the material and finish all the tests, and break that down into a weekly, daily, and hourly schedule. I'll be going in depth into all these aspects a little further down the video. For now, what you need to understand is I had spent 10 days looking for all this information. And it took me so long because I had decided against joining any course or hiring a tutor or enrolling for any classes. Also, gathering accurate information about what it takes to get a 700 plus score was quite challenging because the information wasn't readily available for my tailor made case. For general strategies like up to 700 score, you will get a lot of strategies that are general strategies that will be applicable to a lot of people. But if you want to go 700 plus, I was looking for some tailor made strategy. So, if you watch the rest of the video, I can save you those 10 days of research. So, keep watching. Let's dive into the details of the second phase, which is the study phase. The three main actions that you will be taking during the study phase are discover, capture, and organize. Discover, capture, and organize, but what? You're discovering, capturing, and organizing new information. You'll find this new information through reading or through solving problems. And once you find this new information, you need to capture them on index cards. So these are the index cards that I used for my preparation. You can buy them directly as index cards or you can make your own. And the third step is to organize the index card into sections and into topics. Now let's look at how quickly should you be doing these actions. The latest version of the study guide that I recommend has 800 pages in the quantitative guides and 564 pages in the verbal ability guide. So that would be a total of 1364 pages, which means if you have to finish the second phase within 21 days, you'll have to do 65 pages per day on average. If you spend about 2 minutes per page, that takes about 2 hours per day. If you want to complete the official guide during the same time period, you will have to finish 998 questions. And if you are doing it at a pace of, let's say, 48 questions per day, you should be able to finish it in 21 days. And again, I would allocate about 2 hours for this. And what you need to remember is here, the objective is not to learn or understand or analyze the concept. The objective is just to discover new information. Once you soak in new information, don't worry too much about whether you've understood it or whether you can remember it. If you document it, capture it into index cards and organize them, that is enough for the study phase. Which is why when you're doing these things, remember when you're reading, just scan, look at the whole page, see if there's any new information. If there is any new information, put it on the card. Some new formula, new concept, new approach, new method, new anything that you did not know before this, capture it, okay, into an index card. And same thing applies for solving problems. Don't spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes per problem. You will never finish the official guide that way. Instead, just take 2 minutes. You either know the problem or you don't know the problem, just move on. If you don't know the solution, then just look at the solution that is provided in the official guide, and that is a great place to find new information. Capture all that and keep them neatly organized for the next phase. In the previous phase, what we did was discover new information. And the pace at which we were discovering new information, we were just bombarding ourselves with so much. And a lot of that new information really doesn't sink in. How I would like to look at it is, some of the information must be very clear to you. Some of the information must be fuzzy. You got some of it, but not all of it. And you might be totally in the dark about some of the concepts that you encountered. You recognize it by name, but you really don't understand what it is. And there is a possibility that you're blissfully unaware of certain concepts. It can happen. Now, the goal of the test phase is to identify the degree to which you're clear, fuzzy, in the dark, or unaware about the concepts tested in verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning. More specifically, the testing phase is about discovering what is your scope of improvement within these topics for quant and within these topics for verbal. Let's quickly talk about how to discover your scope of improvement. You discover your scope of improvement by taking practice tests. The practice test series that I chose for my testing phase is the Manhattan GMAT computer adaptive tests. I got 6 of them along with the strategy guide. So I decided to go ahead and use them. And here's how I spread out those 6 tests. So I had a 28-day window to take my practice test, and I divided that 28-day window into 25 days. And every 5 days, at an interval of 5 days, I took a mock CAT. After taking each CAT, I did a thorough analysis in order to discover what was my scope of improvement across these topics in quant and across these topics in verbal. So the topics are fractions, decimals, percentages and ratios, algebra, word problems, number properties, and geometry. The reason why I have organized it into these topics is because the Manhattan guides are also organized into these topic groups. So if I have to go back and refresh my concepts and formulas, I can very easily go to that part of the guide instead of searching for the whole guide. And also I have my index notes, so that makes the whole thing a lot more easier. Similarly, for verbal ability, you have sentence correction, reading comprehension, and critical reasoning. In this part, you see the accuracy and scope of improvement table. So the correlation is, if you already have a high accuracy in a particular topic, your scope of improvement in that particular topic is very low. What that means is there aren't many things that you have to learn afresh, or there aren't many new things left for you to discover. Therefore, it will be better to leave that area alone and move on to some other area where you have a high scope of improvement. So, how do you identify an area with a high scope of improvement? Again, you look at the accuracy. If the accuracy is from 0 to 20 percentage, it probably means that there are a lot of terms that you are either in the dark about or blissfully unaware. So, looking at this area will give you a very high scope of improvement because you can learn a lot of new things. Similarly, 20 to 40% accuracy also gives you a high scope of improvement. Now, from 40 onwards, 40 to 60 moderate scope of improvement, and 60 to 80 low, and 80 to 100 very low. After you take a practice cat, what you do is you, out of these, you pick the area in which you had the lowest scope of improvement. And for verbal ability, again, you pick the area in which you had the lowest scope of improvement. In my personal case, the area in quant where I had the lowest scope of, lowest accuracy and highest scope of improvement was geometry. And for verbal ability, it was reading comprehension. After you discover the topic for which your scope of improvement is the highest, the days in between each test, you focus on only that area. You focus on only that area so that you can bring the terms that are in the dark region and the blissfully unaware region into the clarity region. So you clarify, you go topic by topic instead of biting on the whole apple, you eat it bite by bite. It's an iterative process. You keep doing it for each of those practice tests. And what happens is every time you improve in a particular section, it reflects on your total score. And finally, in the last 3 days leading to the test, what I did was I took an official practice test. What happens is the Manhattan GMAT cats are a little tougher than the actual GMAT. So the scores that you get in the Manhattan cats are lower than what you can expect in the actual GMAT. So I wanted a clearer picture of what I would score on the actual GMAT, and I took an official test probably the day before my actual test. And on the 59th day of my preparation, I went into the examination hall. I was confident that I will get above 680, and I was also thinking about my first attempt, that 650. I had gone into that attempt with very little preparation and too much overconfidence. I overestimated my ability and I underestimated the test. This time, when I went for the test, I was realistic about my performance. I knew that I wouldn't get a 750, but I also knew a score of 700 to 720 was very much within my grasp. So I went in for the test and I don't remember anything that happened in between. I went in and I came out and I got my score report. And before I got my score report, I saw my score on the screen. I saw my score on the screen and I was overjoyed. I scored 710, and my target score for verbal was 37. I scored 1 point more than that, 38. And for quant, it was 47. I scored 48. Now, one thing that you will learn from whatever I have shared with you is that this requires a lot of work. If you're not planning to take any classes or hire a tutor or buy a course, then you'll have to do all of these things by yourself. But I can help. What I can do is I can help you cut down on the time that you require in order to find and organize information. If you would like me to do that, then please comment so that I can assist you with whatever aspect of your GMAT preparation is consuming your time. I want to do some of the work for you so that you can give more time to your preparation and get that score. And really, what happens is the duration of your GMAT preparation depends on the study phase. If you are able to go through that study phase quickly, then you will produce your results. Maybe you can do it even within a month. If that takes time, then people take up to 3 months. The ideal duration that I would recommend for your GMAT preparation is 1 to 3 months. And I have created a video that is specifically meant for you to find out what is the ideal time that you need to give for your GMAT preparation. Now, I got to confess something. I really should not have done it in 59 days. I should have given myself more time. What happened is I didn't have a way of calculating what is the ideal time frame for me to devote for my GMAT preparation. I didn't really know how many days would it actually take for me to get a 700 plus score. That's why what I decided to do is I created a calculator. Now, what this calculator does is it takes your starting score. For me, the starting score was 650. It looks at what is your target score. and it will also help you decide what is the target that you should set for yourself, and it will tell you how many days of preparation you require so that you can balance your work or other priorities along with your GMAT preparation. You probably won't have 4 hours to devote to GMAT preparation. So, if you just have around 2 hours, then how long will it take for you to complete your GMAT preparation? That's there in this video. Check it out right now.